If you're focused on your relationship, career, fitness, but you get to a point where you want to quit, you want to give it all up, in this episode, we give 4 proven ways to prevent you from quitting so you can stay in the game longer, faster, and we're going to make it work together. Stay tuned. Welcome back to the Chasing Greater Vision podcast. I'm your host, Rickey Jasper. Today's episode, we talk about quitting, but we give 4 proven ways to get you to not quit. Now, why is that important? Because when we are trying new things, when we're in a relationship, when we're focusing on our career, we're focusing on our fitness, there are so many points where we want to quit, give up, throw in the towel, and we don't feel like we can win. So we're going to talk about how to win, how to not quit. In this episode, I'm going to go through at a high level 4 tips. Number 1, manage expectations. Number 2, focus on learning and adaptation. Number 3, manage your time around consistency. Consistency in this podcast is like a top tier topic. And number 4, compounding interest mindset, how to have that. Now, what causes us to quit? Why do we feel so overwhelmed at times where we feel like, hey, we really want to quit? For me and for a lot of others, we're frustrated with slow progress. Like slow progress sometimes can feel the worst. It can feel like you're in a living hell because you're working so hard only to get a very small increment of any gain. So that's slow progress. The other thing is we envy others that are around us that seemingly are moving faster. And so we're looking at other people's highlight reels. We're comparing. We're not seeing how much work is getting put in, how many failures that person's hitting, how much of negativity or things that they're going to that are, causing some level of negativity in their life in order for them to get to where they are. Like we don't see that. So we just see the win. We just see the highlight reel, and then we feel bad about ourselves. The other thing is we're not happy with our own success because they're not meeting an expectation that we had ourselves. Like I very much went through that. I probably told this story, but when I was running 413 Apparel, the one day where we had a big day where we actually met our revenue goal that I had for us that day, that was probably my most down and depressed day because I was like, well, that's great, but like maybe we could have done more. And in my mind, I look back and I was like, wait, but I hit a goal that a year before I thought was impossible for us, right? So we're not happy with our own success. So these things are some of the many things that make us quit. Now, what I want to do for this episode and the goal of it is to recalibrate what winning is. So when you feel like you're winning, when you feel like you are gaining momentum and getting towards a win, you feel good. You don't want to quit, right? Like nobody wants to quit when they feel good, when they have consistency, when they get progress, right? And they feel like they're winning. So we're going to recalibrate what win is. For me, winning is, hey, we're controlling the controllables, and what we're doing is the things that we can control. We're putting our best foot forward. Now, how do we do this? How do we not quit? Number 1 is manage your expectations. Now, back when I first started fitness coaching under 413 Health and Fitness, is an online coaching brand that I created, I really just wanted to be so successful so fast, right? And I had gotten some clients and I had left my full-time cybersecurity job, and I was really just going for, the knockout punch and the big wins and the big revenue and all of this stuff. And when I didn't hit it, I felt even more down. I felt even more like a failure, but I was actually doing pretty well, right? And I had to manage my expectations. And over time, with what I'm doing now, I feel like a master of managing expectations. I don't get frustrated with slow progress, right? When I was early 20s, I would get frustrated with slow progress because I expected that when I started something and when I package it up and when I put it to the world, everybody should love it. Everybody should buy into it. Boom, I should be a millionaire and I can just sit on a beach somewhere. It's not real life. Not real life for me. And that's okay. And so what I do now is I manage expectations by focusing on the work, focusing on the enjoyment of it, focusing on my effort into it, and making something the best thing that I can possibly doing it, marketing it the best way, helping out people the best way, putting my best foot forward. And those are the expectations that I have. And so, yeah, on the back end, do I have a few expectations of, hey, clientele that I want to have, revenue, things of that nature? Yes, but it does not lead me and guide me. That's two completely different things, because if it did, I'd be disappointed, because when you're growing something and when you're starting something, you typically want to quit because you're like, oh, I didn't get out of it what I put into it yet. And the mindset that messes with you, because you can't ever win when every day you're like, I'm supposed to get something so high out of it, and because I put X amount into it. No, the mindset should be every day I put in as much as I could into it. It's okay. I'm not really worried about about what's coming out of it just yet. I'm really just focusing on my input. I'm controlling the controllables right now, and every day that's a win for me. Look, this is episode 50 something, 60 something, I don't know. And our average viewership might be 20 to 30 views. And I'm never sitting back. Mason and I never had a conversation where I'm upset like, oh man, I can't believe we only got such and such views. I'm like, no, my win is when I get in front of the camera and after, we stop recording, hey, how did this episode feel? Did I feel like I gave value? Did I feel like I brought energy? And that's how I calibrate my expectations. That's how I calibrate how well I did things, because I'm like, hey, some things I can't control. I can't control the YouTube algorithm. I can't control, who sees this. But what I can control is, hey, how are we adjusting? How are we reformatting? How are we updating our timing? How are we updating our editing? How are we updating some of the graphics? How are we doing the things to make this the best possible podcast that if and when it does hit millions of viewers, we're like, hey, we're proud of what we did. We're recalibrating expectations. So if you focus on that, I'm telling you, that'll help. Number 2, focus on learning and adaptation. Now, what worked years ago will not work right now. Quick story, my Instagram, probably, I think I was 26, 27 at the time. This was in 2016, 2017. My Instagram popped from a fitness standpoint. It was like I posted a picture, I went to bed, I woke up, had like 6,000 or 7,000 more followers, and I was like, oh snap, I hit the explore page. And so all I literally had to do was post shirtless pictures of myself with rarely any in-depth caption, and it would just be like thousands of followers, right? But at the end of the day, for me, the reason why I was like, over time, I was like, I need to stop and change that was because it wasn't in a realm that I wanted to succeed or win in. And now, if it was still like that, or if it was still, hey, you could just drop a picture or whatever and it would blow up, I'm sure everybody's stuff would blow up. So for me, it's focusing on learning about myself. Okay, I want to do something different. So do something different and adapting. Okay, well, now we're putting out the clips. I need to be a little bit more engaging on social. I need to make sure that I have something to offer when somebody says, hey, I really like your podcast, but do you have a website? Do you have some way that I can get in touch? Can I get you to speak? Can I have you on a podcast? Can you coach me? I need to have some of those landing spots. And so those are things that back in the day, what worked 6-7 years ago for me, where I didn't have those landing spots, I just said, hey, you can coach with me from a fitness standpoint, and then you can look at my shirtless pictures. Great back in the day, and no judgment to anybody who's doing that now. But where I'm at now, I wanted to do something different. So I had to adapt. I had to change, right? So focus on what will work now and try to work that process. Number 3, manage your time around consistency. If you watch me in this podcast, you probably just skip through this section because you're like, I've already heard the consistency bit and I'm going to tell it again, but a little bit different. But you want to manage your time around consistency. Sometimes when you want to quit, it's because you just don't have time. You want to do something, but you're just like, I'm just not carving out the time. For me, the things that are a priority to me are family, faith, and fitness. I carve out time for those every single day. What you can't see behind this camera, I call it like my prayer chair. It's a little swivel chair that I go and do my morning devotion in every day before I start work. I carve out that time. I start work a little bit earlier so I can get my time to do my morning devotion. Before that, I carve out time to go to the gym. After my work is done at the end of the day, around like 6 o'clock, the rest of the evening is family time. So when people text me, I rarely text back after that time unless it's an emergency, because I'm focused on who's in my household and I'm focused on giving my energy to my household, right? So manage your time around consistency, around the things that you know that you don't want to quit. And sometimes it's going to cost you some things. You're going to have to sacrifice some things. Like I said, like I have to sacrifice time just like texting other people that I want to catch up with because I really want to focus on my family. I have to sacrifice, time on a Saturday or early on a workday morning to shoot podcasts and stuff, because this is something that I want to do and it's something that I don't want to quit and something that I want to be consistent with. So make sure that you are managing your time around consistency, because it will basically allow things to be quit proof, because you've segmented time for you to focus on it versus it just intruding on other things you want to do throughout the day. And number 4 and last, compound interest mindset. Your results will accumulate. It's just like this. Like if you've ever seen like a strongman competition, for them to like pull the truck or plane or whatever they're doing, the first few pulls, it's like this thing isn't going anywhere. By the time they get it going, it's going faster and faster. And that is just like compounding interest. It's like when you're putting money in a compounding account, You could put the same amount in year after year after year, but after year 10, after year 20, that same amount that you're putting in, now it has that interest rate and everything is compounding. So your return is even bigger now than it was when you first started. My return when it comes to this stuff in years from now is going to be bigger, not just from a revenue standpoint, not focus on that, but for me, in my improvement, in my quit proofness, in my, finding my voice even more, and the things that I'm doing and developing a business is going to be bigger than, because I am not quitting, because I'm learning every single day what works, what doesn't work, and every day I'm not starting from new. It's like if you were to start a new 401k every single year, or if every year you're putting money into a fresh new 401k, it's like, yeah, but if you just used one and kept putting the same amount into one, that 30 years from now is going to be way more than just 30 different 401ks with the same amount gaining interest on the little bit that you're putting in every year, right? So if you have it and you have that in your mindset, that's going to help. And the last point with this is, in order to not quit things, I am a big proponent of not trying to do too many things. If you do too many things, something's going to have to give. If you're focused in on a few things, you can be great at a few things. And I think that is very, very important. So to run it back, 4 proven ways to get you to not quit. Number 1, manage your expectations. Your win is going to be when you control the controllables. It's not always going to hit what you expect from a financial standpoint or from a accolade standpoint. But if you control what you can control, you can manage your expectations. Number 2, focus on learning and adaptation. You will learn as you stay in the fight, and you will be able to adapt because you'll be better along the way. Number 3, manage your time around consistency. Carve out time so that you can be consistent with your time, focusing on your craft, focusing on your relationship, focusing on your career, focusing on your fitness, focusing on whatever you want to focus on. You have to spend time around it. You have to spend consistent time. It's very easy to quit when you're doing sparse times. If you ever seen somebody from a fitness standpoint who's just yo-yo dieted or yo-yo gym worked out, right? It's like they go to the gym, they're there for a week, and they don't show up for 2 weeks. And they go to the gym there for a week, they don't show up for 6 months. It's like, you're not going to get consistency. It's easier to quit when you are not consistent. And number 4, compounding interest mindset. The more you do a thing, the bigger return will happen on the back end. Just keep putting in the daily deposits, and you will see a consistent increase in a return down the line. Now, when is that return going to happen? I don't know. I can't tell you, but I can say if I look over the course of my life, when I put in a lot of effort and on a consistent basis, I've seen massive returns from people in my life, from networking, from finances, from resources, from all of these things, and then also being able to help more people, which I love doing. So if you enjoyed this episode, please like, comment, share, subscribe, and I will see you in the next episode. Peace. For free resources, paid resources, and one-on-one coaching with me directly for fitness coaching and performance coaching using my life coding system, go to RickeyJasperii.com, and I will see you there, and we'll talk directly, and we'll make it happen.